Right. Good afternoon, Lake Havasu City. I'm here with Mayor Sheehy, and today we'd like to take the opportunity to answer some of the questions that are coming in from the public. Today is Tuesday, March 31st. Effective today at 5 p.m. is when the governor issued the stay-at-home order, and that goes into effect today. Mayor Sheehy, can you tell us more about that order and what that means for our residents?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. This is a great opportunity for us to be able to answer the questions that have been coming into City Hall and via email. So the governor has issued several executive orders over the last several weeks as we navigate our way through these new unprecedented times with COVID-19. Specifically, the executive order from yesterday is a stay-at-home order asking residents to stay home, stay healthy, and stay connected. Just meaning to stay home and only use essential services. And so as we navigate through this in the next couple of days and maybe into a week of what's essential and what's not, we will refer to guidance from the governor's office from an executive order that he did last week. And that executive order basically preempted cities and towns from doing anything other than what was in the order and gave him exclusive authority to set stay in place stay in place orders, and also what is defined as an essential business. So right now we're asking all non-essential businesses to comply with the executive order that starts at 5 p.m. today, again on Tuesday, March 31st, and to close your business while we go through through these times. So you can refer to the executive orders on what's essential and what's non-essential. But basically, if you are questioning it, chances are you are probably non-essential. So please, we ask that you comply and we can keep our community healthy and safe, and we can move forward and have COVID-19 behind us.
Thank you, Mayor. Some really good information. And for those that want more information on the executive order, they can go to the governor's website and click on the link for executive orders, and you'll see some executive orders, as you're referring to, as 2020-12 and 2020-18. So pull those up, take a look at it, and as you said, if you're questioning whether or not you're essential business or service, odds are that you're not. So please do the right thing. You mentioned conversations with the direction that we're getting from the governor's office. Can you talk to us about who you're talking to? So are there some routine phone calls you're having with all the mayors across the state with the governor's office, and who are we talking to, and where are we getting our guidance from to make some of these decisions?
Yeah, great question. It seems for the last 3 weeks I've literally just been on the phone with many of our citizens, many of our business community, but also public health officials throughout the county and the state that we're taking guidance from. So you've heard me several times say that we're taking guidance from the CDC, which is the Centers for Disease Control, and the Arizona Department of Health Services, led by the Mojave County Department of Public Health. And so all of the decisions that are made on business closures or what the next steps are based on those public health experts providing data to the governor's office, and then the governor working with mayors across the state to implement policies to keep us safe. So as you mentioned, Jess, we are talking with all of the mayors across the state on regular conference calls with the governor's staff, trying to help shape policy and direction from the governor's office as it relates to keeping our individual communities safe and healthy. I've also been in contact with Senator McSally, Senator Sinema's office, Congressman Gosar's office, all working to ensure that we have the resources for our citizens during this process. And we're looking at it from a multi-fold approach. Right now, we're in the slow the spread process. That's where the stay-at-home order is so important, that folks stay home so we can slow the spread of the virus. While we're doing that, we're also ensuring that we're building the medical capacity that may be needed should an outbreak happen in this area. And then we're also working on the economic side of things to ensure that businesses that are struggling because of COVID or that have been forced to close down to help slow the spread, and displaced workers have the resources that they need. So we're looking at it from all different angles to ensure that our city remains healthy and strong and continues to navigate through this process. And on the other side, we also have the resources to ensure that we remain vibrant as we start rebuilding our community, rebuilding our lives, and then rebuilding our economy.
Great, thank you for that. That's important for the residents to understand the communication that is occurring amongst the city and with our regional leaders as well. So let's get into it. We've had a lot of, alluded to it, a lot of questions coming in, hundreds over the course of just this last weekend. Mayor, you were telling me earlier about 300 text messages, emails, phone calls that are coming in, and people have questions. I'm feeling quite a bit of those questions as well too. So let's dive into some of these questions that we're getting. Probably the one we're getting the most is in terms of the visitors to Lake Havasu City. So can we keep out the visitors, including the Californians, out of Lake Havasu City? Can we close Highway 95? Or how do we otherwise minimize the flood of folks coming into the community, whether it's a vacation home and they're coming to hunker down, or those that they're coming from outside of the state that just don't get it, and they're coming to Havasu for the weekend and as a vacation spot. So what can we do to minimize that?
Yeah, great question. It's a question that we continue to get every day about how we can stop folks from coming here. So a couple of things, because the national news media, I know many of you have been sheltering in place for many weeks already, and thank you for doing that, and thank you for doing the right thing. But are watching the national news media what is happening in some other communities, such as spring break activities and the likes. Spring break was canceled immediately here in Lake Havasu City. All events, all spring break related activities were canceled in early March. All of those things stopped before truly they ever started. All marking initiatives, all marking efforts for those things had stopped long ago, several weeks ago. Some of our hotels have closed their doors, but the governor's executive order has hotels as essential services. And many of the hotels that have remained open are housing folks that are needing places for lodging, that are working in the hospital and the likes within our community, providing essential services that are currently happening here in Lake Havasu City. One of the best ways that we can stop folks from coming over to visit us right now is with your help. If you could just let your friends and your family know that the best way to stop the spread of this virus is to stay home. Whether your home is in California or Nevada or Colorado or wherever it may be, the best way to stop the spread is to stay home. So please encourage your friends and family to stay home during this time. We have been working with the governor's office to get guidance on what it would look like to close the borders, or we've had some folks suggest you have to have a local ID and some of those things to get in. I don't have the authority as mayor of Lake Havasu City to close down the roadway or borders. That's not something that I have the ability to do. But working through the governor's office, and of course the president of the United States does have some ability to do those types of things. And it's a conversation that we're having from a regional approach, and then also as communities that have states that border each other. How can we ensure that we all do the right thing to stay home? So that is what we're doing. As the bars, restaurants, gyms, theaters, and the like closed last week, and now with the governor's stay-at-home order and the remainder of the non-essential businesses closing as of this afternoon, I would anticipate that we would see less folks coming here because there won't be anything to do at this time. So again, the best way that we can help do this is let's work together. And please, if you know folks that are considering making a visit to Lake Havasu City during this time, please let them know that it's best that they stay home at this time. Let our community get healthy and rebound from this, and then we would love to invite them back out to enjoy all that Lake Havasu City has to offer.
Yeah, now is just not the time.
Exactly.
Thank you for that. Another question we get quite a bit here at the city is with regards to outdoor recreation. What does that mean for golf courses? What does that mean for trails? And then I'll follow up with a lot of questions about launch ramps and the lake and those types of things too. So you alluded to a little bit about the ability, the mayor has responsibility or the authority, and the governor has authority, and then obviously the president of the United States does. But maybe talk to us about our ability to react to questions and concerns from the residents about the closure of golf courses and boat ramps and the like and so forth.
Sure. So in the governor's executive order to stay at home, it's stay home, stay healthy and stay connected. So he believes that there's a really strong correlation for folks to get outside to stay healthy, and that looks like maybe a walk around the block, maybe some outdoor exercise or physical fitness opportunities, or maybe just to get a little bit of vitamin D through some sunshine. And so those are in the executive order from last week, that public parks must remain open, hiking trails must remain open, outdoor recreational sites must remain open. However, he urges that everybody follow the CDC guidelines. And what that looks like is stay 6 feet away from each other. You may notice in this shot that Jess and I are 6 feet away from each other, and have been ever since these guidelines have come into play. So outdoor recreation is allowed, but you need to allow distancing for yourself and your loved ones from others during this time. So at this point, if you go to the trailhead to go hiking, the parking lot's full, maybe you should turn around and go find another trailhead during this time and get there a little bit earlier tomorrow. The intent for this is to stop the spread of the virus. And the only way to stop the spread of the virus is to make sure that we're staying at home and we don't spread it amongst ourselves. So with that being said, it might be a good time now to talk a little bit about the social distancing and what that means. I also encourage you to pick your couple of people you're going to hang out with for the next 30 days while we're on this stay-at-home order, and make sure you don't expose yourself to more folks. So although the CDC guidelines right now say that you need to be 6 feet apart and no groups larger than 10, if you hang out with 10 folks today and a different group of 10 people tomorrow and a different group of 10 people the next day, that's 30 people of exposure that you have had in just 3 days. And so if you happen to be a carrier, that's 30 people that were impacted potentially, and then they have contact. So limit the number of people you're with and keep that circle tight, and let's keep us healthy. But we do encourage people to still connect as humans, whether that's using digital platforms such as FaceTime or video conferencing, or picking up the telephone just to check on a loved one or a friend or a family member, or within your circle that you choose that you're going to be with over the next 30 days as we do this. So right now, those opportunities are there. We do specifically get a lot about lawn trams. Are the lawn trams available? They are available because they're outdoor recreation sites, as identified in the executive order from the governor's office. But we do ask that people social distance. And so we have taken some precautions out in the waterways to ensure that can happen. The channel has been closed to shoreline mooring, including the areas in front of London Bridge Beach and Rotary Community Park, because people were having a hard time separating themselves and creating that social distance that is so important. So just be smart about it. The intent right now is definitely take advantage of the outdoors and outdoor recreation while keeping your distance and following the CDC guidelines. We want you to stay healthy, both physically and mentally. But it's really important that you distance yourself during these times as we work to stop the spread of COVID-19.
Great. Yeah, so some of that directive from the governor's office about stay healthy is there's protections in place for the recreation areas, but we have to be smart about it. We have to use common sense. And I think that's very, very important. Another question we get, Mayor, is about the ferry boat. Why don't we just shut that down?
Yeah, great. Yeah, great question. So Havasu Landing Casino is closed and has been for some time now, as are the casinos up and down the river, Blue Water, Avi, all the way into Laughlin. So those have been closed. But the folks that live over at Havasu Landing provide essential services, and our employees within our city. They also use our city for groceries and pharmacies and medical services. And so the ferry has remained open so that they can get their citizens back and forth. It's really the only mode of transportation for residents of Havasu Landing or Havasu Lake, California, to get the services that they need here in Lake Havasu City. So the ferry boat continues to run, but again, it's primarily for their residents only at this point to get back and forth between our two communities.
Great. And that casino's been closed for a couple of weeks now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some other questions that we get, and we'll follow up with another video here in a couple of days with some more questions as they do come in. But so we have time for one or two more questions. And one of the questions we get quite a bit is how many tests are actually being done for COVID-19 in the community, and who's tracking that, and how does that work?
Yeah, great. Testing is really important, and again, the public health officials and the public health experts are really leading the effort when it comes to testing and testing sites and what that looks like. So in Arizona, the Arizona Department of Health Services is taking the lead on that effort. And the current protocol from Dr. Christ, who runs the Arizona Department of Health Services, is that testing should be only for first responders and frontline medical community at this time. Now that COVID-19 is considered widespread within our communities, it should be assumed that COVID-19 is in our community. And with that being said, anyone that has a respiratory illness would be treated as such, that they had COVID-19 under that guideline or that direction. So testing has occurred prior to that direction from Dr. Christ. It continues to happen here locally. The information is reported through either the testing site or the primary care physician that did the testing, or the hospital that did the testing, and then is sent to the county health department, who reports those numbers through their databases, and then further reports it to the Arizona Department of Health Services. So every day at 9 a.m., new data is released. You can go to the Arizona Department of Health Services. You can click on the link and see how many active cases we have within our county, how many tests have been done in our county, and how many are pending. So again, that information is updated every day at 9 a.m. From the Arizona Department of Health Services, and that is working in conjunction with medical providers and the county health department to provide that data, so we understand the results of the testing and the impacts of testing within our community.
Great, thank you. Our last question is dealing with grocery stores and the supply chain. And we have a lot of residents that are asking questions. How can they be assured that our shelves will remain with the supplies that they need as far as food and other essentials? If they're going to stay at home, they need to be supplied. So how can we be assured that that supply chain is remaining intact?
So if you've been to the grocery store over the last couple of weeks, you'll notice that some of the shelves have been empty. And we really could use your help at this time with that. Now that we have the stay-at-home order, we would like to limit the number of visits to the grocery store that you make. So if you go to the grocery store, purchase enough groceries for just 1 week, so that there's enough supplies that are available for all of our citizens to be able to get their supplies. That would help us by limiting the exposure and the potential spread of COVID. And also, when you're in the grocery store, please be sure to practice social distancing as best as you can. It's really important that you remain calm. Again, just purchase enough groceries and essential household items that you need to get through the week. The supply chains are back in action, and if you've been to the stores recently, you'll notice that the shelves are starting to feel fuller and look fuller and have more items on those shelves. Governor Ducey did bring the National Guard, or called the National Guard in the state of Arizona to help with the logistics of the supply chain. And so they're helping right now, moving trucks across the state of Arizona to ensure that we have the necessary supplies in our grocery stores. So just as quick as it gets to Lake Havasu City, it gets onto the shelves and is purchased and taken to your home. So we do have enough supplies, but again, just purchase what you need. Now is not the time to purchase backstock for your cupboards and whatnot. These essential household items are needed by all citizens of Lake Havasu City. So if you could help me with that, I would greatly appreciate it, and so would our citizens.
Great, thank you. Good information, and hope the residents that are viewing this video find this information very useful. We'll follow up here in a few days and with some more questions that are coming from the public. But with the volume that are coming in right now, this is the best way to get the information out and to address the questions and concerns and comments and ideas that are coming from our residents. We'd like to let everybody know too that to go to our website, so lhcaz.gov/COVID-19, or if you just go to the homepage for Lake Havasu City, there's some information on there, including this video and other videos, as well as our press releases and what's out there. as well as links to the CDC, the state, and county experts that are guiding us through this process. So, Mayor Sheehy, I'd like to thank you for your time.
Yes.
And I guess the message to the residents of this time is to be kind, remain calm, and be healthy.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for all that you're doing. These are unprecedented times, and we certainly understand the inconvenience and the impacts that this is having on your life and your family's life, your friends, and our community. And we ask that you just follow the stay-at-home order from the governor and work with us, and we'll continue to communicate as often as we can, giving you new information and answering the questions that you may have. So thank you for tuning in, and stay healthy.